Recording.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Beauty Talk. I'm your host, Janice Tennell. Thank you guys for joining us today. We are excited because we get to talk film and television today with our guest, Nesrin Ismail, and we are just happy to bring her on. I have my sister Denise with me as always, and I'll bring her in so she can say hello. You know me, always having problems with the mute button. Good evening, everyone. And as Jenny stated, thank you guys for joining us this evening. We're super excited to get started. All right, well, then we're just going to jump right in. Nesreen, welcome to Beauty Talk. We're happy to have you here.
Here we go. I'm unmuted. Guys, good to be here.
Good to meet you as
Yes,
well.
good to meet you as well. Why don't we jump in? I've read your bio, but our listening audience don't know who you are. Why don't you start by introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about how you got started with makeup for film and television?
My name is Nesreen, and I've been doing this for a long time. I started like everybody else. I went to school.
Okay.
Not everybody else, but I went to the regular route. So I went to makeup school. I moved to America to pursue a career and to go to makeup and special effects school, and I did that in LA.
Okay.
I spent I finished school and it's very hard, as you guys all know. It's very hard to get into film and TV. You can't just like decide and get on.
Right.
Uh, so I ended up having a job in makeup counters.
Hmm.
Honestly, one of the best things that kind of happened to me.
Hmm.
Is you get to learn a lot and know how to read people and read different personalities. And then after that, I ended up doing a lot of music videos, indie movies. Mostly for years, I was doing indie movies. And that's how I started effects, because I started beauty like everybody else. And then, as you all know, indie movies, you got to be a jack of all trades. There's nothing
Yes.
that you one person to do.
Yes.
I think that's how I got really into effects. But I never would have called myself an effects artist. Because at that point I really did not do a whole lot of prosthetics. And then I spent a while in LA, and as everybody who would be listening to the podcast know, it was very hard to get into the union, especially the 706, the LA Union. And I was like, I mean, how long can I do this without getting in? So I, bit the bullet, took whatever little money I had,
Mhm.
uh, just made a move to Atlanta because I knew that Atlanta was booming at the time. And you can actually, and it was a different union, which 798, and
It's a right to work state as well, so it made it a
It.
little bit easier.
Hmm.
it's just easier to at least see, because you can work by yourself in indies as much as you want.
Hmm.
Hmm.
A real TV, a unionized TV and film work is a whole different story. It's different. And it's nothing really about just doing the makeup or the art itself. It's just a whole different beast. And you will never learn unless you actually work.
Right.
Right. Right.
That's why I'm really a big fan of our union, 798, because you're able to get the new generation and teach them how it really works. It's not about just the makeup. We all know that.
Right.
Hmm.
So, and from there, I ended up, working a couple of indie movies, and then till I got to know a couple of people, and I did a couple of movies, and then I day played for The Walking Dead, and like everybody and their mother in Atlanta. Well, worked at The Walking Dead, and I ended up at in The Walking Dead as a fourth, and it's a hard show.
Mhm.
For the week of, yeah.
Mhm.
And I ended up king it. So
Who
I
was your department head when you first went over there?
SHO.
Okay.
So I ended up keying it, and it was a whole. I mean, I always say once you work in a hard show like that, you really can do anything.
Yeah.
It humbles you very quickly.
Yeah.
So, and from there, I got that on my resume, and and I ended up going to other couple of big shows, day playing here and there, and then I ended up department heading one show, but for some reason, Atlanta was, I just wanted something different. It was so hot.
Hmm.
I'm a desert person, but it was just hard. And I just wanted something different. I was still doing indies. I love my indies. But on a kind of bigger level. And then I did a couple of indies in Chicago, fell in love. And you know, there was the big three in Chicago, which is PD,
Hmm.
Med, and Fire, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
They're the guys who are working all the time, and
Yeah.
very kind. 476, which is the union here in
Hmm.
Chicago, a very kind makeup artist was like, listen, these are the people you need. Because the thing is that you can send your resumes all you want. If it's not for
Right.
the person, nobody's going to see it. So she gave me the department heads, and I put in my resume and just lucked out. At this point, they wanted a f like an effects artist. Just like, how are you in effects? And I'm like, oh, I'm good, solid. So and I ended up hired full time in PD, and I was there for 4 seasons, and then you know, you grow
Yeah.
and decide that, you know what, I think I'm ready for the next step. Think I'm ready to department head more. And that happened. That's how it happened.
Nice.
Wow.
Now, are you still in Chicago?
Well, now I am, but I still
Okay.
have my residence in Atlanta.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Gotcha.
I do Chicago, Atlanta, New York. I stay in those three. I do love Chicago though.
Okay. Nice.
So let me ask you, because you mentioned, doing the indies and the makeup counters, and I just wanted to add a little to that because I can't stress enough how important it is for people who are starting out, even if you want to do film and TV. And even if it doesn't matter if you want to do film and TV or what you want to do in makeup, I feel like it's a great thing if you start out at some point working those counters. You get to touch different skin tones. And just like you said, you learn people. And I just think it's a great experience. It's a great experience for anybody who ever wants to get to the point where they are like department head or key or even third, working on a trailer, with actors in your chair, being familiar with how to communicate with people in your chair. It's one of the best experiences ever. And then the indie world. I mean, it's so much that could be said for that. And I just think it's such a great experience. Like you said, you're just one person, you have to do all the things. Um, but then when you move ahead and you grow to this point where you're working on feature projects, um, it's the best experience ever. And I think it's not enough said about that, I think at times.
Yeah, I think definitely when you said, you learn people, because think about it, in film and television, you have to communicate with everybody, especially as a department head, you're communicating with your crew, you're communicating with the cast, you're communicating with your director,
producers, executive producers, you never know, studio heads, you don't know who you have to communicate with, but you communicate with a little bit of everybody. So learning, just learning people and just having those communication skills, I think is great for film and television, for
When,
sure.
when to talk and when to shut it.
Yep,
That's
absolutely.
Yes, that's it.
the biggest lesson,
Yep.
really,
Hmm.
is it's not about you, but that's a big problem that I find a lot of the times in the younger generation.
Hmm.
It's because it's not about you. It's
Absolutely.
what you think is right, even when you're right. A lot of the times, when something is requested, I'm like, that's not gonna look that great. But, you do what's needed, you do what's good for the project, you learn to know when to give an opinion, when not
Hmm.
to give an opinion. You know what battles you're fighting for. And
Absolutely.
people reading really ruin reading. People come, I don't know, bag on young artists. They're so talented. They are way more talented. I'll tell you that much. The younger generation, way more talented than I, a lot of the people I saw in my generation. But it's not about just talent.
No,
Film
it's
and
not.
it's not about just talent. It is talent, it's communication, people reading, and getting your ego checked. It's not about you. It's about the actor
That's right.
serving a story, right?
I like that.
And how big you get. If the actor does not like your makeup, you gotta be willing. Oh, let's change it.
Yep,
You gotta be willing to completely, change as you go and grow as you go, and your ego has
Absolutely.
no place in it. No place.
And
So
it's so funny because you say it's not about you. And I think that's the hardest lesson for some newer artists to learn, that it's not about them, because they really believe that it is. They believe that it's about their talent and how great they are, how great their pictures are on Instagram and how many likes they get. And that all goes out the window. I mean, maybe some actors are into that, but I mean, when it comes down to it, they really aren't, and it really isn't about them.
agree with me, Denise. I think that the whole about the likes and all that, it works more in photo shoot and fashion,
yes,
Right.
right?
yes.
A lot of people don't know. This is a whole different animal. It's not about what's real TV has nothing to do with print.
Mhm.
Absolutely nothing.
You can get somebody like, as we all know, you can't get uh, um, somebody. Do not cover them right under the eyes and put a shitload of shimmer and have glass skin. That's gonna look terrible.
Yeah,
It's gonna look phenomenal on an Instagram story.
right,
Absolutely.
Phenomenal on a print.
right.
Gonna work in real life. You're just gonna look like a grease ball in front of the camera. So, and like, another thing, people come in the trailer, and a lot of the times we have the music going, but it's not every day. You have to read the room, read the
Yeah,
actor.
yep.
Because an actor we are there to serve. So,
Absolutely.
like, we're not there to bring joy all the time. We need to know how to kind of roll it back. If an actor needs a moment, if it's a hard scene, everybody's trying to learn their lines and just, discuss it. We are background. We're quiet, we're background, we're there to serve the movie, not not just like have fun. I mean, we have fun,
Right.
but there are times for that. And I think that's my two
Sometimes
cents.
it's just a matter, sometimes it's just a matter of knowing at what level you need to have the music at. Like, I think that if you're going to have music every day, the music needs to be at a certain level. And if the actor decides they're okay with it, fine. And if they're not, at least it's not blasting in their ear and you can just turn it off. But it's some people are just on every day, music blasting like this is my trailer and I can do what I want to do. And that's not the case.
not my trailer. It's the
No,
actors.
it's the actors trailer.
The
Yeah,
actors,
really.
you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
One where they go
Right.
through the works, and then they have one where they just chill out and relax, you know? So it's so true. It's not our trailer,
Yeah.
not our second home. We don't, it belongs to everybody else. So that it's just, I mean, set etiquette and trailer etiquette and all of that stuff is like one of the major lessons I think people should learn when entering this business. Like learn it before you even figure out the makeup portion of it all because it's going to take you a long way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to jump into some of these shows that you've worked on. Um, I just have to ask about this show really, really quickly. Mr. Throwback with Stephen Carey. Oh my
Oh
God.
my God, I didn't realize you did that.
That show,
Finished,
so funny.
and it's so funny because this is the fastest show I've ever done in my life. My life. Like we finished in July. Like I wrapped because we went to San Francisco and whatever. Like we wrapped. I got my kit back from shipping, and like 3 weeks later, the show was on air, and I was like, wait, what? Like with us, like it's a year and a half, and people will ask you a question. I'm like, I don't remember. It was like a year and a half ago. Um, so yeah, that was a fast show, which I loved.
How was it working with Steph Carey? And did you have to do makeup on everybody that was in the show?
Well, we had no, that's a lot of people. There were a
Okay.
lot of people. I did Steph,
Hmm.
and I did Adam Pauly, which was number one.
Hmm.
Uh, funny guy.
He's
Yes.
hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah. And I did I think number four. And we had a lot of facial hair going on. A lot of it was cut also. There was a lot of sequences,
Oh,
you know,
uh-huh.
get done in editing. So I did a lot of beards and glue-ons and extensions for one of the characters. But yeah, I'm in general. You know how it is in the morning.
Mhm.
Um, I have my main person, right? My main people. She's usually number whoever needs the job. But if we're running late, if something is happening, my key has to jump in.
Yeah.
Right.
It's staff like the portion here in Chicago, I did Adam Pauly, right?
Hmm.
Portion in San Francisco, where there's a lot of it with staff.
Hmm.
Um, I did both, but if I'm doing staff and something happened, they need to grab Adam early. I'm with the school of everybody should jump in.
Right.
My actor, but he belongs to to the production
Right.
for any foreseeable. It's great that everybody is assigned to somebody, but especially with men, you need
Yeah,
to finish. And
Yeah.
absolutely.
film and TV is a thing, and people, it's a thing. And if we need to get people out in the morning, asses off chairs in the morning.
Yep.
That's right.
I work with my key, and even if I'm keying, I have my people, she has her people. I know exactly what she's doing. She knows
Mhm.
exactly what I'm doing. If I'm sick, she gotta jump in.
Right.
If I gotta jump in. If somebody's late, she gotta jump in so I can get the other guy.
Right.
Doesn't really work with actresses if you're doing glam because everybody likes their specific.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But as a department head, as a manager, and I would want to feel comfortable enough that if anything happens, I need to know that my key is going to do an amazing job. She knows exactly what's going on and she can take over. Right?
Right.
Especially with COVID, after COVID era, you don't know. You don't know,
Absolutely.
like when somebody's going to get sick and whatever.
Yeah.
Usually, I was assigned to both. That's a very long answer for your very simple question. Was I did Steph Curry and I did Adam Polly.
It was a great show. It
It
really
was
was.
a funny show. I loved
It's
it.
so nice, and Steph Curry is as nice as he is. He really is. He's wonderful.
Nice.
Nice. Nice to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get to Deli Boys.
Oh
Tell
my
us a little
God.
bit about some of the character looks that you have to do
That
in
is
that show.
another one that's
I love the show.
hilarious.
I
I had
gotta,
to stop myself from watching it so fast.
I gotta tell you, Deli Boys is. I worked in like big, great shows. Deli Boys is truly my favorite because it's a dream come true for a makeup artist because you get to do full on glam
Mhm.
and then you get to do a lot of effects. It's everything in
Mhm.
in the same pot. So
There was a lot of blood from the very beginning.
mhm.
Yes.
How did you handle that? Because I'm sure you all shot out of sequence and all over the place.
Well, because of I'm not gonna give because I worked a lot primarily on The Walking Dead. I'm very good with continuity, blood continuity.
Hmm.
I'll just take good pictures and I know how to recreate everything and like mark it to a T. And I paint, especially with blood. So like you get your first look, whatever it is, the splatter, the this and that, and then you do a chart of the marking, and then you just have to paint it as 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 you go, whether the continuity, wherever that continuity might be.
Hmm.
Keep good records. And I never really was that great at it. But in The Walking Dead, I had to kind of teach myself how to
Hmm.
do that because our script is really a very cool woman. But the script, I don't know who was doing it later, but on the season I was in, she would go in and she'd look and she's like, the scar on him. I see it's about 2 millimeter. I
Oh,
think this.
wow.
Oh yeah, with a ruler. I think this is a little bit bigger. I think this is 3 millimeter.
Wow.
So I learned. I don't do that anymore. Obviously, it's different times. So I learned to kind of walk with the pictures.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pictures, not the big ass pictures. It's like a regular picture.
Right.
It on and put it on me with
Yeah.
a folder thingy and just walk with them. And then you go, this is that. No, this, let's measure. This is
Hmm.
this,
Right.
exactly that. So it's like everything else, it's practice.
Yeah.
And I tell people, um, you gotta, especially with beauty makeup, is very easy to do continuity on.
Hmm. Yes.
Your chart or whatever, even without a chart, you just take a picture and put your errors and know exactly and everything that you've used is in the actor's bag.
Hmm.
So pretty much it's self-explanatory
Hmm.
and you can easily repeat it as you go, especially
Right.
it's very easily the biggest problems are really blood continuity,
Yeah.
car continuity.
Hmm.
And especially if you're I make my own prosthetics in general. I mean, I do a lot of Bondo prosthetics and I have my little lab in any trailer I have. Um, so like it's a lot of practice to get it right because a lot of people also would look at the footage of something that we shot, let's say, a week ago. And I had that in PD too, that a scriptie would look and she's like, I think what you did is the color is different. I'm like, well, I did use the same thing. And I'm like, now you know, out of practice and out of habit, just like, no, your lighting is different.
Right.
Monitor is different. You think it's way yellower than it is, and it doesn't match real life because your monitor has more yellow in it. That's experience, right?
That's right.
It's like, oh, okay, I'll change it. I'll change it.
Right.
And then you add more white to pull down the yellow, or add more yellow to pull down that doesn't work like that. Right? That's the same. That's the same lighting. That's the same. This is my picture. Your monitor is different from the DP's monitor. And then if you go to our monitors, that's a completely
That's a whole nother thing. You may as well not look. Right.
That's why I'm like, I like my continuity on to take my continuity pictures in the trailer. That's great.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It looks so different from real lighting, how they're lighting. And I take other pictures. I usually, especially when it's something complicated, I usually take the continuity in the trailer is great, but then you have to take your continuity picture on set with the lighting, not when they're still setting up the lighting.
Right.
How it's gonna look like. They set up the lighting, you take your continuity pictures, and you gotta take a look at your monitor. You gotta take a look at the scripty monitor, the monitors that the director and scripty are looking at, and you gotta take another look at the DP's monitor. It's a different thing. The colors are different. It's just different. So if you're confident and comfortable, and that also comes in with experience, because not when you're not confident of what you actually did, people are just like, well, that looks different, and everybody will in. So a scriptie will jump. I love my scripties. Don't get it wrong. I love almost all the scripties I worked with, but they're looking at a different monitor than what I did.
Right.
And I just don't. I will go and revise the color of something only if the DP director says it. It's like, you know what? I know we shot it like that. I don't know. It feels too yellow. We change that? Absolutely. And you take a picture of what was requested, write it down. That's another thing. You write everything down. And these are the only two people that I would adjust and make up on set for.
Yes.
Other than that, everybody jumps in. Oh, I think it was more yellow. Oh, I think it was this. Let's look at the footage. Okay, let's look at the footage. Let's look at the footage in a different monitor. Because looking at a footage from your iPad or your iPhone and then looking at it from the monitor that's in the village is just different.
Very different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about some of your
lesson.
Yeah, it's definitely a good lesson.
I'm just hoping a lot of newbies will watch this because even not just for people new to the business, but for new department heads. Because sometimes you have new department heads that are pretty much new to the business, and there's a lot of things they haven't learned that maybe we've learned over the years from spending years doing this that.
And also, it is an intimidating world.
Yes.
When everybody's telling you, you got sometimes the here in Chicago they usually do 80s. So there's like the base 80. It's not a base PA. It's a base 80.
Yeah.
In Atlanta there was a lot of base not 80s, just PAs, just like the younger kids, for anybody who doesn't know that. And you'll come, it's like, time, you took too much time. Like, no,
Right.
45 minutes. You know, when, like, obviously, if they're running late and something is going on, you'll hurry up and, hustle and juggle and all that. But it's very intimidating to when everybody's on you. Well, you got to finish right now. You got to finish right now. It's like you got to know what you're doing. You got to time everything. You got to, I'm like, okay, it's great. They came to the trailer, but I didn't get them in the chair except like just 10 minutes ago.
Hmm.
And it's intimidating to a lot of, new people, because nobody wants to be rude. And I'm not saying that we're supposed to be rude. It's just knowing what you're doing, having confidence and conviction that in what you're doing is right, and just saying it. And I understand how new people are intimidated by somebody who's coming, well, you took too much time. Let's go.
Right.
Right? So just knowing, and also be flexible. You're at the end of the day, you're serving the production. So we need to hurry. We need to hurry. But yeah, I understand why it could be intimidating, but you gotta, I guess, in not in a rude way, but stand your ground and know what time you're taking, and what you're doing, and not let a whole lot of sometimes when it's too many cooks in the kitchen, and we get the bad end of the stick, I guess.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah. Oh, it's hair and makeup's fault. Anything that
Yeah.
was bad, hair and makeup's fault. What do you mean? Like, what do you mean? So, just be confident and organized and just knowing your stuff. There's a lot to be said about wanting to please everybody, yet knowing your stuff and being confident
Yeah,
in word and confident in you know, in your business. So, not
absolutely.
confidence, not overconfidence or, stuff. But yeah,
What would your dream job be?
listen, I can pretend and whatever. I want to work with, A-listers. That would be my dream job.
Yeah.
But the real dream jobs, honestly, after working in this business, and this business sometimes it's the best, and sometimes not so much.
Mhm.
The dream job is to have the right team. The dream job
Yeah.
is to be in the right team, because I'm not I'm not delusional to think that I'm always going to be a department head. I am happy getting a good job as an effects artist, and I'm happy getting a big scale job as a key or as a third. It depends on what, like, I'm happy to be with the right team. The
Right
dream
team.
is to be with the right people. You
Right.
can have the biggest job, in how many jobs, both of you, have you worked on that had big names, big flashy, and it was a nightmare? You'd go home and just like,
Yes.
I want to kill myself. Like, you'd go, like, there's so many shows that I'd go in, and the bathrooms, like the honey wagons, and you'll find people behind them, they're crying. And it's like, how many times can you go behind the stall and it's like, oh my God, I'm too old to start crying, but it's just like so truly, after
Yeah.
all, the dream job is to work with the right people, the
Yeah.
people um, who makes you thrive, who wants, who pushes you to be better. And that doesn't necessarily mean in any position, you know, just it's more of a, I don't want to say a family atmosphere, but people who are there for each other. You don't have to be people's best friend. That's a big mistake in our industry. It's
Mhm.
not just about being friends. It's about being with the right people that will push you to learn more, to do more, to be to grow more and be a better version of yourself. And I think that would be the right dream job for anybody. But I still would want my A-listers. But
Right. Let me ask you one quick question about Deli Boys. For Lucky, was there was there inspiration behind her cat eye? And then tell us about Prairie's look.
well, Lucky, I like the whole show is very it's a colorful show, and it really does show the diversity and the color and the richness in South Asian cultures. And almost all of our women were glammed up all the time. But I wanted to make a distinction between each glam and to make it to do the glam according to the character's background,
Mhm.
their what were they affected for, what era did they grow up in. Lucky's character is really an Indian girl who came in the 90s. She's like a 90s kid,
Mhm.
and you have to know at that age, when you're a child, your inspo comes from movies, and it is the 80s. So there's this 80s Bollywood actress. Her name is Rika. She's very like glammed, like all the eyes, and she's very, just wonderful. And I kind of based the character on an 80s Bollywood star, because that she grew up watching that with her mom. And to her, that's the epitome of class and glam and everything. And usually people, I think, keep their childhood within them, and it really does affect how they do their makeup. It's
So
they're
true.
affected by their you'll find those people that we went to high school with
Yeah.
doing the same eyebrows. A lot of people do that. So I wanted her to when she grew up from nothing, she made herself, and her idea of glam was the eyes, the
Mhm.
Indian Bollywood, eyes. So we
Right.
played with that.
Nice.
Nice.
And what about Prairie?
Oh, Prairie was oh, Prairie was this is one of my favorite like characters, because we wanted mostly she's like a shaman, she's like Afro-futuristic, and she really is a fraud.
Yeah.
Essentially, you discover that she's not what she pretends to be. So she needed to put on the mask, to put on the face, to put on the looks, to embrace her, character that she's playing in the world now. So we did it, the inspo was like I wanted, and a lot of the actually I collaborated with Alfie, who played her. One of the inspo is that Alfie used to put that like white dot
Oh yeah.
eyeliner. She did that in her real life. And I'm like, let's put that on. I wanted to play with a lot with graphic liners, and well, that was a year ago when we shot it. So graphic liners were not as big as it was right now. But I wanted color. I wanted her to, put war paint almost, because she's going to the world presenting something that's really kind of not her. She's playing a role. So yeah, that was it. Pretty much
Right.
lots of colors, lots of, because she's also very bold.
Right.
Bold, she had balls, she's not a timid little girl. She's been through some stuff. So she expresses that also with makeup, with the colors, with how much she changed. Because if you look at her makeup, it's not the same.
Mhm.
It's usually people do their makeup in the same kind of level.
Right.
Not her, because she's putting a mask on. So you'll find her with a lot of eyeshadow one times, sometimes just graphic liner, sometimes with dots, sometimes so she just embodies a different character every day. And but it all falls in the same realm, I guess.
Yeah. And what about the guys? Like, what was their grooming like?
Well, I'm Middle Eastern, and you would know Middle Easterns, South Asians, we need color correction. It's a big thing. Uh,
Hmm.
so actually, with all the cast, color correction was a big, big, big part of it. Um, we wanted it like I used really a tint more. I used the Dior on all my. I really do like Dior on all my the Dior the face and body one.
Yes.
Say somebody like, yeah, I usually use it for all my guys because I don't want to see a whole lot of makeup. I don't
Mhm.
want anything, but I still want my coverage though.
Yeah.
So
Right.
what we did with them was color correction. The MAC, the orange and MAC, the one in that palette. We did a lot of that and we mixed it to get everybody to the level that they want and cover whatever is there necessary to cover. And the powder, honestly, I discovered my favorite discovery. The Fenty Beauty white powder.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I discovered it because I used to use a lot of other stuff, and I'll tell you that stuff magic. Um, and yeah, and then the barber would come and we'll just do the barber came once a week,
Mhm.
so we had to also do color correction for the beard at the end. Uh,
Mhm.
so at the end of the week, right before the barber would come. So
Right.
where we kept track of that, and so mostly it was color correction, very light foundation like tint, and that's it. Trying to keep their skin as as nice as possible so they would not break out. That's it.
That's interesting that you say the barber would come once a week because with African American actors, the barber's there pretty much every day, but they're getting haircuts like every other day because it grows back so fast and
That
they are requesting it as well.
they are requesting it.
Hmm. But without them requesting it, they need
They need it. They need.
it.
But one of my things is I don't know. I don't want to go through it. I would. I don't know about Atlanta because I'm only gonna speak about here. I would like the barber to be involved in more things than just barbering, to be very honest.
I agree.
A lot of the, yeah, that's true. A lot of the
Want a barber to
barber,
do
a
it
lot of
and
the
go.
a lot of the barbers that I've worked with here in Atlanta, or at least the hair department heads that I've worked with, when they hire barbers, they hire people that can do more than just barbering because if they have to be there, you know,
It takes out of your days. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I've seen barbers touching up some of the women,
thank
all
you.
of that, all of
Thank
that, and I'm
I
for that.
I am for that too. I think now we all have to like the business is getting, the business is changing. It's less money, it's less mandates, which is good because it's a good chance for other people to work. a lot more people. Like there's a lot more productions, especially with all the streaming. But we also have to evolve.
Right.
We have we have to learn to wear so many hats. I don't want my I don't want to hire somebody to come unless it's really complicated. That's the
Right.
difference. But on a day-to-day basis, I want somebody part of the team. I
Right.
mean, who can do a lot. I'm not going to ask people to do more than what they're comfortable with, right? But we also all have to be, if it's a scratch on the face, I don't want to hear that, oh, I only do beauty. No, no. You
Right. Right.
I'm not going to hire somebody to do a scratch and then get somebody else to maintain it throughout the whole day, right? And I think that's something everybody has to be able to do a whole lot. I mean, I know that from my experience in Throwback, Mr. Throwback, it was a lot of barbering, and I thought I was so great. I wasn't. After that, immediately after that, I went and got I went and got a barbering workshop because I knew I wasn't that. I'm like, okay, it's not
Right.
as because usually when we do grooming for beers, it's it's like it's easy work. But when you have like five five men with a lot of grooming and we don't have a barber on site, you need to know how to kind of at least maintain the same level the right way and them feeling good about it. So,
Yeah, because you gotta realize these are men who are used to having barbers to
mhm,
do that for them, you know, when however often they need it. But these are also men who, especially like on a show with like athletes, these are also men who are outside of this whole
talking about the
acting
athletes,
world.
I wasn't even talking about they need to have their I was
Yeah.
talking about regular people,
Oh
right?
yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Mhm. So
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that we all always have to like evolve and have I know everybody has their specialty, but I'm a big proponent of you got to keep learning and do more.
Mhm.
Keep the jobs here because everything now is going to Europe.
Absolutely. That's right.
So,
That's right. Absolutely. Well, last question for you. What is your definition of beauty?
a beauty
Hmm.
as I work in it as I get older and, and as I work in our industry, I think beauty truly is mostly from the inside and being comfortable
Hmm.
with yourself. And really is being comfortable with yourself, knowing what you're getting to know yourself more, knowing what you like, what you don't like. It's not about trends. It's not about what everybody else is doing. What really resonate with yourself, how you look at yourself, how you like yourself. And this goes whether it's makeup or whether it's from inside, you know. So that's beauty. Not
Right.
mess, not eyeshadow.
No,
It's
not at all.
all and just being at peace with yourself of how you look because we all get older, things change, and you gotta just be at peace with what you see in the mirror.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. I mean, we could talk this kind of stuff all day long.
Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. This was wonderful. We appreciate it.
Thank you
Let us
so much.
know the next time you're in Atlanta.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Stephanie.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I just stopped recording, so I'll send you all the